Hey, Washington Commanders fans, I have news that could literally change the future of our offense in the coming seasons, and you won't want to miss a single detail of what I'm about to reveal. We're talking about one of the most talented wide receivers in the NFL who may be available, and guess which team is being pointed out as the logical destination for him? That's right, the Commanders are eyeing a potential $120 million signing that would reunite our quarterback with an old college teammate. But before we get to that bombshell, I also need to talk about a former player of ours who is trying to resurrect his career elsewhere. And this story shows exactly the kind of mistake we can't repeat in the next offseason. Subscribe to the channel now and hit the bell because we're going to track every move of the offseason, and leave that like if you want to see this team making real signings to compete for the title again. So let's get straight to the main point because this is too big to beat around the bush. Although the Washington Commanders are having an absolutely disappointing season in 2025 with this horrible record that we all know, we remain a team that needs to be closely watched when the next phase of roster restructuring begins in the offseason. With the absurd amount of injuries we've had and the offense completely lacking reliable receivers who can make plays consistently, it's practically guaranteed that Washington will seek significant reinforcements when the market opens. Zachary Pareles from CBS Sports has just linked the Commanders directly to one of the biggest potential names available on the market. And we're talking about none other than Brandon Aiyuk, that star wide receiver from the San Francisco 49ers. According to Pareles' detailed report, Washington would be an absolutely logical destination for Aiyuk if he actually becomes available through free agency or trade. And look, there are very specific and compelling reasons for this that go far beyond simply needing receivers. Washington has not come close to recapturing the momentum from that magical campaign that culminated in the NFC title last year, and injuries have completely devastated our receiving corps. The persistent issue with Terry McLaurin's thigh kept him out for long, crucial stretches and brutally exposed the absurd fragility of the receiving group we have. Deebo Samuel, who reunited with Jayden Daniels this season after his time with the 49ers, is playing the last year of his contract. With no consistent options available, our offense took a massive step backward. Pareles points out several extremely convincing reasons why the Commanders would be well positioned to aggressively pursue Aiyuk. The main connection here is his personal and professional history with our quarterback Jayden Daniels, and this is a real connection that goes far beyond just numbers on paper. The two were teammates at Arizona State, where Aiyuk became Daniels' primary target and later seized that golden opportunity to be selected in the first round of the NFL draft. The strong relationship between them continued even after both arrived in the professional league and resurfaced publicly last summer during the complicated contract dispute Aiyuk had with the 49ers. Remember all those social media posts and interviews where they made their mutual interest in playing together clear? Pareles' quote makes this very clear when he says that the Commanders are having a disappointing season in 2025 after reaching the NFC final in 2024. But there are many important connections here that cannot be ignored. Aiyuk played college football at Arizona State, where he was teammates with the current quarterback of the Commanders, Jayden Daniels. In fact, last summer Aiyuk and Daniels publicly conversed throughout that contract dispute, making it clear that they wanted to play together. Additionally, Washington's general manager, Adam Peters, previously worked directly in San Francisco, where he had direct involvement in Aiyuk's development. This overlap, both personally and professionally, gives Washington a unique and significant advantage if the player becomes a free agent or is targeted for a trade during the offseason. Washington's desperate need at the wide receiver position could truly drive a transformative change. If Washington really wants the offense to return to that devastating form of 2024 when we got so close to the Super Bowl, it is absolutely evident that we need much more than just generic options on the roster. We need a true star, a proven elite receiver, to play alongside McLaurin and form a duo that terrifies opposing defenses. Aiyuk, who according to reliable sources is seeking a contract around $120 million, fits perfectly into this specific profile we are looking for. We are talking about an extremely dynamic receiver with excellent ability to get open even against the best coverages in the league. He could instantly elevate the level of our passing game and rebuild that natural chemistry he and Daniels developed over the years in college. Pareles correctly notes that Washington's current situation makes this change realistic, both from a roster need perspective and from a financial standpoint. The glaring lack of depth at our wide receivers became painfully obvious throughout this season, with Terry McLaurin dealing with that persistent thigh injury that just wouldn't heal. Deebo Samuel is in the last year of his contract, so he might leave as well. Washington is projected to have plenty of salary cap space this offseason, meaning we can aggressively pursue a standout player without compromising other important positions that also need reinforcements. With McLaurin under guaranteed contract, Daniels quickly establishing himself as a legitimate young franchise quarterback, and Peters looking to reshape the roster according to his specific vision, the addition of Aiyuk could literally transform the complete identity of our offense. The Commanders definitely face extremely important decisions, after a season marked deeply by devastating injuries and frustrating inconsistency in almost every area. But the exciting idea of pairing Daniels with Aiyuk, giving the offense a true elite-level receiving duo, is exactly the kind of bold and transformative move that could catapult Washington back into serious contention for the NFC title in 2026. If the 49ers and Aiyuk really part ways as all the rumors suggest, don't be surprised at all if Washington is literally one of the first teams interested in making an aggressive offer. Peters knows the player, Daniels has chemistry with him, and we desperately need this position. It's a perfect combination of need, opportunity, and personal connections that rarely appear. Now let's briefly talk about a secondary piece of news involving a former player of ours, which serves as an important reminder. The Atlanta Falcons conducted a workout with veteran wide receiver KJ Osborn on Friday, according to Aaron Wilson, but no deal has been reached so far, and it's unclear whether the Falcons are truly considering signing Osborn permanently. Now, 28 years old, Osborn entered the NFL as a fifth-round pick of the Minnesota Vikings in 2020. After spending 9 games without a single reception as a rookie, Osborn became a reliable weapon in the Vikings' aerial attack led by Kirk Cousins from 2021 to 2023. During this productive 3-year span, Osborn averaged a respectable 53 receptions, 615 yards, and 5 touchdowns per season, missing just 1 game and accumulating 30 starts. While Osborn was consistently productive in Minnesota alongside Cousins, that success simply did not carry over when he tried his luck elsewhere. He left the Vikings to accept a 1-year, $4 million offer from the Patriots in free agency in March 2024. But Osborn was unable to fit in at all in New England, making just 7 miserable receptions for 57 yards in 7 games with the team. With his numbers dropping dramatically and significantly, Osborn told the Patriots he wanted to be traded before last year's deadline in November. They didn't find any interested parties willing to trade for him, but the Patriots and Osborn agreed to a mutual contract termination a month later to free both sides. The Commanders signed Osborn immediately after the Patriots waived him in December, hoping he could bring some value. He played just a single game with Washington and didn't receive a single pass during that limited time. Optimistically hoping that 2024 was just a strange exception to the rule, the Commanders re-signed Osborn last March, giving him another chance. We ended up waiving Osborn during final cuts on August 26th, and he hasn't been picked up by another team since remaining out of play for months. A potential move to the Falcons, who are sitting at 3 wins and 7 losses and struggling, would reunite Osborn with Cousins, who will take over as the starting quarterback for the remainder of their season. The Falcons lost starter Michael Penix Jr. due to a serious knee injury last week, and also won't have their top receiver, Drake London, against the Saints. This Osborn story serves as a perfect reminder of the kind of mistake we cannot repeat in the next offseason. Instead of continuing to test veterans who are clearly in decline and hoping they magically regain their form, we need to be aggressive and pursue proven players in the prime of their careers, like Aiyuk. Osborn had his chance here and it simply didn't work out, and that happens in football. But we can't waste precious time and limited resources continuing to gamble on this type of player when we have the opportunity to make truly transformative signings. Daniels' rookie contract window won't last forever, and every year we waste on wrong bets is one less year we have to compete for the Super Bowl with financial advantage. So the final question I leave for you to ponder deeply is, considering all the real connections we have with Brandon Aiyuk through Jaden Daniels and Adam Peters, our desperate need for an elite wide receiver to play alongside Terry McLaurin, and the significant cap space we will have, do you believe Peters will really be aggressive enough to make a competitive offer of $120 million for Aiyuk and finally give Daniels the weapons he needs to succeed? Or will we continue to gamble on cheap veterans like KJ Osborn and waste yet another precious season of the opportunity window we have with our franchise quarterback still on a cheap rookie deal?